Kelsey's back.
Hey guys.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Hey everybody, welcome to Late Horror Show. Look who's back. It's Kelsey.
Hey guys, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Getting some more horror talk.
Yeah, some new horror talk. Been doing a lot of old stuff, but yes, I am Dino, as always, and that's Kelsey. We said that 3 times now, so you know.
So don't forget it.
Yeah, don't forget it. But she's back, and we're going to tackle 2 newer movies. They're kind of different. One's kind of a zombie-ish kind of movie. The other one is a what is it again? Frontiers. It's a new wave.
New wave French extremity.
Yeah, there we go. And that's the one we're going to talk a little bit more about because the other one's kind of a basic plot. Alone, 2020. I think it's an Amazon original. I think, yeah.
It's definitely on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. But,
yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah, but anyways, we'll push that to the end because we got a lot to talk about with Frontiers. It's from 2007, directed and written by Xavier Gens. Hopefully I said that okay. I'm sure it's fine. It's about a gang of young thieves who flee Paris during the violent aftermath of a political election, only to hole up at an inn run by neo-Nazis. And yeah, I can't wait to start talking about this because there's a lot going on. There's a lot, and I had to read that. Yes, I did. Anyways, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of good, and there's a lot of bad.
Okay.
There definitely is. And the bad is, and we'll get to it, is the cinematography. I mean, if you didn't notice all of that, we'll talk about it. Oh,
this is news to me.
To
be fair,
I can't believe you didn't notice it.
I can definitely appreciate great visuals, but it's not always the key thing for me. I'm very big on story and themes and all that, so a lot of times I see that more than unless something's really distracting, either really great or really bad. But I didn't particularly notice, but. I'll let you take that.
No, and I think that's where you have a good point because I really enjoyed the movie for that exact reason. The story, the characters, locations. I give it to them. They were constantly going from scene to scene to scene to scene, never rehashing a lot of the old, scenes that they did early on in the film. I mean, so they were constantly doing other things. It's just when it came to the cinematography, there was just whoever was doing it. It was just too many blacks. It was too dark. There was no lighting. I mean, there were times when people were sitting in the vehicles and you couldn't see the face of the driver. It was just pitch black, and you never noticed that. And
if there was anything of it being dark, I didn't feel like I couldn't see it. If anything. Maybe it just felt like encrouched in darkness sort of a thing.
Okay. I mean, they did this thing, too, where it was all close-ups. I don't know why they wouldn't use a wider screen lens. I think they used I did hear somebody else mention something about this, the lens size. What they were using was just shooting close-ups of people's faces, and you didn't get the whole... scene in certain parts. I don't know. Maybe they did that on purpose. I don't know. But I noticed it. But it didn't take away from the movie. I enjoyed it. There was a lot to it. I mean, heck, this is pretty much what a lot of movies. But they drew from a lot of old movies. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, I'll even go Motel Hell with the cannibalism and stuff. But
yeah, true.
Maybe a little Hostel. I don't know. There's a lot of things I think they pulled from a lot of older, gorier movies from the past, and I better shut up and let you get to this movie.
I think that
I'm not putting it down.
I think that was intentional too. Like I think, I believe I read some about the director being a fan. I think particularly of 70s and maybe a little 80s horror, and wanting to do homage to some of that.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, it was
and they were a little confused on the genre too. You know, what kind of movie was this?
I don't think so. Well,
there was a little supernatural going on there. There was a little slasher going on there. I saw the supernatural with, the tunnels down below. Mm-hmm. You thought there were going to be like these supernatural beings or something like that. And here it was just, holes dug through, leading to the butcher guy, whatever his name was. I don't know the names either. But anyways, very cool. I tell you, that was the scariest part of the movie for me. Not scary, but the coolest imagery that they did where they were crawling through that tunnel. And we'll get to it. Scared the heck out of me, though. I would never want to be crawling through something like that. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe you would. Yeah, no. I don't know.
I don't think there's anything about this movie that I would want to be in that atmosphere. I think the point was, how like dark and dangerous and deranged the world can be, and I think more than anything how these ghosts of the past of hatred and white supremacy and fear of the other as a lot of what was going on at the time in France. It was so the director said it was based. He had was this horrible nightmare around the 2002 elections.
I feel bad. He had a nightmare like that.
Well, it was because there was a right-wing candidate who was doing well, and so there was kind of a lot of fear.
Are we talking politics?
Oh, are we not allowed to do that?
No, go.
I'm not making judgments either way. I'm just saying this is what he has stated was the reason. And I mean, you absolutely have to talk about that.
No, of course. I think that's where things get lost in translation. Being a French film, that whole beginning where they were fleeing the political turmoil that was going on at the beginning of the movie. I really didn't know what the heck was going on.
It was based on race riots that were going on in the country because of this right-wing candidate having a lot of success and seeming like he was going to win. Yeah. And so a lot of it goes back to a lot of the ideals from, Nazi sort of values and the white supremacy and fear of it was among the immigration crisis that was going on at the time, so there was a lot of this fear of this other, and it's mostly Muslim characters who are fleeing from as they get more into the country and kind of end up in this trap, this
inn.
Huh?
This inn.
This inn, yes.
This hostel. Well, it was an inn.
Yeah.
Run by neo-Nazi cannibalistic kidnappers. You can throw a whole mess of different other things that they are. I don't know, but yeah.
But more than anything, I think it's, especially in the country, a little bit more outside of society and rules where, like kind of anything can happen, but also a lot of it was very significant to what had happened there before, and these ghosts of the past kind of coming back. And like there are a few notable things there for sure. Like it was filmed in a region where several of the internment camps actually did take place. I mean, then there's just a lot of things that tie into those ideals, like when he says work makes you free, which was a Nazi slogan that was listed on a lot of the internment camps. And then like
She's going deep.
The steam room, box death, very attuned to gas chambers for sure. Yeah. I think it's more than anything, it's like a warning to be careful of hate and just having low regard for human life and rights, and that, I think we've seen it even here currently, that there's, a lot of that, racist and hate is still alive today, and to kind of be careful about what you kind of come across.
Well, yeah. From the moment you're born, you got to be instilled with those, ideas that there's bad people out there and watch, but yeah, no, that went pretty deep there.
I think like history
Even
repeating itself. I think that it kind of like is meant to tie into that, and where just kind of be careful where you put your faith, and a lot of it is just kind of blind faith and wanting to conform them to their idea, especially for our main lead character is she's expected to kind of conform and really just be for their purposes what this leader wants for their family and this perfect race and all this. So having the strength to fight against that, even against impossible odds, I think is one of the strongest points of it.
Yeah, let's throw in cult too. This, we said neo-Nazi, kidnappers, cannibalistic, a cult too, because they technically were trying to take the main lead. Who was it? Was it Yasmin? Mm-hmm. Okay, Yasmin. Watched this movie quite a while ago.
Yeah, we've been delayed, but here we are.
Yeah, but they try to get her to be the one that marries whoever the other guy was in the family, be part of the, continuing on and having the babies, and that's whole part of the white supremacy from, back in the 40s and stuff when neo-Nazism started and all that. And, no, this started in the 30s, I think, somewhere. Actually, if we dig way deep in history, the Iron Cross, we can go way, 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 way back, which is associated with neo-Nazi. But that's a different stream. I'm not ready for that talk.
Yeah, I think it's also almost like it could be almost anything. Like it's the horrors of the past and the ghosts that were there around their country because of things that had recently happened there. But I think it's just, be careful of extremism and hate and not seeing, people as other and valid.
But then again, you can't be scared of everybody, but watch your situation out there. You don't go to actually, the minute you pull into an inn like that and people are acting the way they're acting, that's when you get the heck out of there.
Yeah, right.
But they had a whole mess of money and all that, and they were trying to, cross the border, wherever they were trying to cross the border. I forget where they were at. Denmark, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
was that it? Austria?
Yeah.
Let's think of geography again.
That's the most important part of this movie.
no, but it is pretty not simple. But I mean, once they escape that whole beginning thing, they do drive off the pair, the two brothers, I think they are, or no, maybe
there's
they're
a
just
brother
two
and sister, and then
okay,
I don't know how much details we want to give, but there becomes a separation, and then she meets
she don't
up,
like to spoil nothing.
She meets up with the other two that were part of this sort of heist gone wrong among all this chaos and riots and trying to flee for their lives, basically. And then they end up in a much worse situation, of course.
Yeah, so I don't know how much we should get into. Should we just point out certain things, or should we?
Well, one thing that we have to point out is she was a badass final girl.
She was. Yes, she put up with a lot of crap, literally, in the pig pen. That scene was a little, oh my God. There's a scene where the old guy comes in, the father. He takes these big shear thing. He cuts the tendons of the back of the foot, and it's very disturbing.
Yeah, exactly. And again,
a la Hostel. Remember Hostel did that too.
and then as he's doing it, he's referencing that I think it was people that were in those prison camps that they did that. So he's referencing this as, this is something I thought was great that I'm taking along with me. Yeah. So again, it ties back into sort of the horrors of the past. Yeah, and I think bringing them into the current generation.
Yeah, and I think the older guy is the one doing that because he looked old enough to be part of that World War II era, maybe.
Yeah, I think he is supposed to have been a former officer among the Nazi regiment. Yeah,
so there's a whole. We won't spoil a whole lot. You see the movie, but it's a whole lot of, torturing. One guy's hung on a meat hook. That's Texas Chainsaw all the way. You want to do something with human meat and flesh, and you want to wait to carve it up for dinner. Mm-hmm. that's what you do. You put it up on a meat hook and you let it bleed out. But
practical.
Yeah, it's what you do.
Then
you let it dry out and you get the right barbecue rubs and, work the body a little bit.
Different flavor depending on.
A little bit of heat, let it dry out a little bit more. Remember?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Best way to do it.
So that's how you prepare a good body for barbecue. So what the other... I don't know. So the other cool thing...
Follow us for more recipes.
right. Yeah, follow us. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention there. I mean, it's basically them coming in, the torture, the other people come, the brother and sister in the other vehicle, or maybe vice versa. I don't know who's who. I'm a little confused.
Two accomplices.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But meanwhile, the other two they're off, okay, and they don't know where they're at. So that's going on. And I'm not trying to am I giving it away? I tend to do that in movies. These reviews, I give everything away.
Yeah, I think you're okay. I think just leave.
Okay.
That.
And there's a
I do want to touch on not the ending itself, but I think one of the things that makes this movie so strong, I think, is the last act is really, really strong. If it was a weaker ending, it might not have been as memorable of a film for me.
Yeah.
But again, I think a lot of that is Yasmin and just how she's not vulnerable to all I think she is just being shown the testament of this impossible lengths that the human body and mind and spirit can endure.
Yeah.
And just refusing to conform and be something to use in this patriarchal society. So I think even just there's moments of her fragility, just where even just the look in her eyes, man, it is heartbreaking and so intense, and just that look when you can't really fight, but you're not ready to just succumb either.
Yeah.
And just
we tried.
How she trembles and just even her struggling, I feel was so strong because it showed just enduring and not breaking to what sought to conform her.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I thought it was... we tried to push ourselves to that limit. I didn't think we even got very far at all. Maybe 25% of what she went through.
When was this?
Remember last summer?
Okay. Yeah. I blacked that out. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no. And the very end... Well, okay, see...
You could be vague. Just be vague.
Yeah, I'll be vague. Her character, pretty much, whole ending scene kind of is total Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But that's all I'll say. It's not giving nothing away, but I saw that, the ending scene for the... Did you see that?
I first saw this movie,
getting out of the vehicle.
13 years ago.
Okay. Anyways, it did. It reminded me that big time. But,
there's clear homages to Texas Chainsaw for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I mostly viewed it as its own movie and
me too.
Based on what was going on in their climate. And I think again, the opening voiceover is basically saying just how cruel and kind of messed up of a world this is. And one interesting thing is in a lot of these French extremity films, there was a big theme of motherhood. You take Inside, and it's sort of the opposite take on it, where it's worth enduring anything to be a mother or save your child, and just what you would go through, even if it kind of changes you. And I think this is sort of an even more depressing outlook, where it's this world is so messed up, the best mercy is to never even bring a child into it. So I think that is a really interesting theme of things that were going on in the country at the time.
Yeah, no. And the other cool part of this movie for me, I thought, was the tunnel system down below with the one character who... Well, they both end up down there, right? Yeah. And they start very claustrophobic scene, crawling through a tunnel. I guess they were trying to get away from other I won't spoil it. Other things, other beings, other people, whatever you want to say. Because again, if you see it just on its own, you're going, oh, supernatural. What's going on here? What is this? But it was just okay. You got me confused on how much I can get away with now without spoiling anything. But that scene, crawling through the tunnel, really got me. Very claustrophobic. Scared the daylights out of me. If you don't like stuff like that, oh my God, that turn your head. But anyways, yeah, I mean, that's in a roundabout way the movie. I mean, it ends up, go judge for yourself what you think. I know I brought up all those things at the very beginning, but I still see that. I think there's a lot of good story and a lot of good ideas, and he evidently got some of that across very well. Whether he did a lot of the cam work on purpose, which after you see it, you notice it. If you were to sit there and have somebody point it all out to you, you would go, oh yeah, what the heck was going on there? You know what I mean? But it didn't take from the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. If we're going to judge this out of 10 for a French new wave extremist film, which is something, I'm not saying I don't like, but, I hate all that gore stuff, really,
Really?
You love it.
Wait, you hate gore, but you love, 80s horror? What?
Well, 80s horror is cartoonish. So, there's a difference.
Okay, that's
And
interesting.
yeah.
If anything, I think it's even more validated because, I think this is a film that shows, there's nothing wrong with cheesy fun, horror. I love that too.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think there's something really strong when you take these gory, intense situations and use horror to kind of weave in these metaphors and meanings and just all this, really strong exploration and sentiment about society and the human struggle. I think putting that creatively and meaningfully into horror is extremely creative and just adds that much more depth and validity to it.
Yeah, let's fight about it. Come on.
I mean, that's my...
No,
if other people hate French extremity, it's totally cool. We all like what we like. I think it's for sure one of my favorite types of modern horror, and I think there's just
the genre, you mean?
I mean,
or the movie?
It's hard to. I mean, kind of both. I think this is one of. It is definitely one of my favorite modern horror films, at least among them, among a top 10 or something at least.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just throwing banter here. I mean,
no, it's fine.
I'm a horror fan. I mean, come on. Blood and guts and everything else is part of that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just funny when you're like, I'm not a fan of gore. I'm like, wow, I've been picking the wrong movies.
No. Well, I'll put it this way. If there's certain scenes that are done where it's not necessary and it's just there to get you squeamish, everybody's got a limit to what gets them a little, squeamish when it comes to gore, you know what I mean? And a lot of the Saw movies did that to me.
Yeah. So for me...
Just for the sake of doing it, which I call torture porn.
Not my favorite term.
I know, because I get it. But I bring that up on certain movies like that, where it's just, let's do it for the shock value and that's it. Like Faces of Death too, back in the early...
I think Saw became like that. I think the first one was pretty strong.
Totally.
But then they kind of got into we have to outdo ourselves. There has to be some crazy trap and someone has to saw their hand off this way. Or I think it got to be too much of we have to do it just to outdo ourselves rather than meaning. But I think this,
first one totally
for this film, I think it's all meaning.
Oh yeah. And you've changed my mind on all of that. You went into deep analysis on this, and I totally understand it. And again, I think it's an awesome movie. This kept me engaged in throughout the whole film. I couldn't wait to see what was going to happen to her.
Yeah.
Is she going to? Is it? Well, okay, that's it. Shut up. Okay.
Well, I think that's her just seeing her struggle and survive and fight, I think was one of the most immensely strong things. I remember after the first time I watched this, I was just I don't know. It was at the time, it was one of the first horror films in a while that really just had this massive effect and stayed with me and just like kind of powered something through me after. Cool. And I definitely felt a lot of that. This time around, I think especially I realized it's almost more because of the last act. Okay. Because as I was watching, I'm like, oh, this is good. I like a lot about this. But then it's really that last act that I think ties everything in and makes it as strong as it is. Very cool.
Let's move on to the next film, which, is not a whole lot more to talk about, but Alone, 2020. Good to wrap that one up, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so Alone 2020.
I'll go on about Frontiers forever if you let me.
Yeah, no. Hey, again, well, here, let's give our rating. Out of 10, what am I going to give this? I'm going to give this I'll give this a 7 out of 10. I probably know your score. Because I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. This is what this is all about. We got to banter.
And it's totally fair to see
back and forth.
Like you can like something and point out flaws in it or things that you think could have been better. That's part of reviewing. It's analyzing a movie.
Yeah, and when you see other people's, it's interesting to see other people like really rip it and put it down, and then you have other people who like put it on a pedestal and say this is just amazing. Mm-hmm. So it's all over the place, and it's funny to see that with different people, different reviewers on YouTube or wherever, and their opinions on what this is all about, But anyways, what out of 10? What do you put?
I give it 10? 8.5.
Oh, okay, 8.5 sounds good. Okay, yeah.
I mean that's like A range, A minus.
No, that's good. That's good. So here we go. Alone, second film of the night. 2020 on Amazon right now. You can go watch it. We won't bring up that other film, but
I think we can, unless you don't want to. Well, no, you have to. You have to acknowledge it.
Yeah. Which came first? There's a Korean movie called Alive, which they were both filmed kind of consecutively.
Yeah, and it's the same screenwriter, so it. Honestly, I think it probably started as a Korean film, and they were like, "Oh, this could have good appeal. Let's also develop an American one." I believe the process was around the same time.
Okay.
So I guess you can't quite call it a remake, but it's definitely the same version of a different film.
Yeah, he said, "You know what? I'm going to do this in Korea, and I'm going to do this in America."
Yeah.
Same basic storylines, but two different countries. You know what I mean? And we are yet to watch Alive.
We'll get to that.
Hopefully, that'll be a future one because what I saw looked fantastic. And if it's better than this one, because a lot of times I like the foreign films better than the American versions. Which takes us to this one. It's kind of a zombie film, a virus, pandemic. Like we need to hear stuff like this and this day and age, here we go. Let's prep society. Okay, I won't go there. With the pandemic stuff.
At least they got zombies in there.
Right. Yeah, but these zombies are freaking not zombies. They're like running.
They do have good jumping.
Thinking.
Good jumpers.
Oh my god. Get these the Olympics alone.
Hurdles.
Olympics. The Olympics. Anyways, it basically revolves around one guy who is Tyler Posey. His name is Aiden. Tyler Posey is from the Teen Wolf series that was on MTV and other such, made for TV type stuff. I don't know.
What other stuff he's been in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's done a lot of big stuff since then.
Yeah, I think Teen Wolf is the main thing that I remember him from. But his name's Aiden. Not Adam, and I'll get to that in a second. Aiden, not Adam. And how far do I want to go here real quick? Basically,
you can mention the other person. Yeah. I think that's worth talking about.
Yeah, the other, he eventually sees, because he's alone. The name of the movie is Alone. There's a girl he sees across the way in the apartment building. It's literally like probably 50 feet, but not enough to jump. You need a rope. Yeah. So, he could have got over there if he wanted. These things are running around like maniacs. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. These zombies are just, they even run in groups and they're like talking almost to each other, you know, what the hell, kill me and all this. But anyways, now that's scary. I mean, you know, you really got to fight. There were parts of this where I'm like, Tyler Posey, or the character, he had to be a football player. He was tackling people.
He said he was a surfer. Maybe he built up some good surfing muscles.
I guess. But he was diving under. He was hitting, knocking, maneuver. And I'm like going, those are some good football skills, man.
Yeah.
But, there's another girl that he finds out is over there. On day, we can mention this, right? On day 42. He, I'll check with you first.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
On day 42, because we get towards, he's been all alone, and he figures, screw this. I'm just going to hang myself. So as he's doing that, along across the way, he sees, you know, Eva. Not Eve. Eva. And, you know, so, and she looks like she's just painting on the thing, and she's happy-go-lucky. What was up with that?
I mean,
but he stops himself.
She definitely expresses that I think she was pretty desperate for human contact and someone to be in with this.
Once they interacted,
yeah.
But at first, it just looked like some girl in an apartment, you know, painting and, you know, getting ready for her morning coffee and making breakfast.
She's trying to make the best of the circumstances.
I guess so. That's what you need to do. But there comes a point where you start losing it, and that's he was making that point in this film because he was basically, imagine being in your apartment and you're hearing all these zombies nonstop saying kill me, it never ends. I mean, first of all, I'd have stuff on my ears. I'd find something to clog, you know, to pack up in my ears, whether it be candle wax or something. I don't know. But it was really driving him nuts, and So that's here. You talk about it a little bit. That where I leave off is where they meet there, and you know, they kind of noticed that there. And I thought it was cute that he had signs ready the next day to tell her, hey, you know,
to talk,
response and to talk and stuff.
Yeah, because it seemed like the zombies also seem pretty attuned to sound, so they have to be quiet most of the time. So I think in the beginning I was kind of like, I'm not gonna be very into this. There was some parts early on that, especially like there was one scene when the neighbor checks on him.
Yeah.
That scene was like the worst in the movie. It was not a very
at the very
good
beginning.
Scene. Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
just the writing really wasn't very good, and the acting was kind of cheesy. But like, I don't blame that too much on the actors, because a lot of times with you can only work with the script that you have and what the direction is. It seems like they were going for a little over the top, very panicked, you know, which I get. But there was some moments early on where it really like wasn't setting as very, I don't know, realistic, I guess.
Seemed like a very simple movie, simple script.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing that fresh or new with the zombie genre. I mean, I guess the zombies are a little bit more, you know, faster, have a little more abilities, but they don't really develop that. They don't really go into like what their strengths or weaknesses or like what's causing this or what's unique about it.
True. Yeah.
I will say they did have a lot of newscasts like throughout, like until at a certain point power goes out and everything.
Yeah.
But for a while they had, he was listening to the news a lot. His phones aren't working. That's really his only communication with the outside world for a while, which those helped to kind of have a little context and understand what was going on in the world and, kind of feel it out with him a little. I will say that I felt like it got better as it went along.
Yeah.
I think the writing
just
and
introducing
too,
the other character.
Yeah, Eva helped a lot. And not just her, but like their interaction together. Yeah. And I think more than anything, what's strongest about this film is actually because it came out now, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to it in our current pandemic, that, even the most introverted people after a while of being in their house long enough and not really...
Can't take it.
Yeah, eventually, like you said, it does get to you, and I think just needing that human connection and companionship in someone, to go forward with this. And I think it highlighted a lot of those fears of who knows what's going to happen to your loved ones, or what will tomorrow bring? Will we have normalcy again anytime? I think it really compounded on a lot of that. And to me, that was the strength, just that it was a relatable film to come out in 2020.
Yeah. And introducing the character of Donald Sutherland, too. You said your loved ones. It basically came down to him. I won't give too much of that away.
His scene was pretty good.
Yeah. His character was kind of cool in this. It was a small part. I mean, maybe like 15 minutes you got of Donald Sutherland there. Yeah. And he was making a point with what was going on in his apartment. And that's all I'll say because I don't want to ruin it. It's a newer movie, 2020. It's on Amazon. Go check it out. But that was kind of cool. But, yeah, agree with you 100%. Sounds like you really didn't care too much for it. I think the strongest part of this movie were the two characters. I wish that, and we've heard that there's more of that in the other movie, Alive.
Yeah, more character
development with the characters than the pandemic and the virus and all that. And I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more with those two. Like, I would have loved to have seen him, well, see, I'm not going to give it away. Interact more, that's all. And there wasn't a whole lot of that. But
I do think like the conversations and just hearing people's perspective or what their life was, I think that was definitely the most interesting part. Again, like the zombies were decent, but they didn't really do a lot for me. I think the horror, suspense, that part wasn't very strong for me. It just kind of felt like, every other zombie film in that respect. But I think overall I enjoyed it, but I would say it was a decent film. It's not one that's going to really stick with me, but I'm not upset about watching it.
Yeah, I'm sorry because I picked this one out, because I do like the zombie genre. I know it's been played to death. And they're trying to do it in many different ways. I get that, and then people are sick of it. But right now, I still love it. I love the old classics. This one, I like the thing. Like when 28 Days came out, that was fantastic. So these zombies, or whatever you want to call them, they didn't even say zombies. It's just a virus they got hit by. But they are pretty much zombies. Died. They don't even explain it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
They don't say nothing. And the very end, we won't spoil that either, but it's kind of got for a split second, a cool ending. But, what he was going to do. But anyways, that's that movie. I would say if you like zombie movies, go check it out. I would say it's not the best movie out there. I just wanted to see it. And a lot of times we'll do a movie that, we just never seen before. You're curious about. And again, if I'd go 10 out of, what would I do out of this? I'm going to go 5 out of 10.
Same.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've had the exact same opinion.
Right down the middle. Yeah, no. I mean, it didn't kill me to watch it, but I probably will never watch it again. Yeah. So that's the kind of movie it is. But again, this may be somebody's favorite movie out there. You never know. That's the way it goes. So go check it out. So,
I would say decent zombie film. Yeah, if you're just into the genre and always want more zombies, it's a slightly different version. And I think if anyone is having more struggles with the pandemic, or I think just hitting on, it's very much I think a metaphor for 2020, just with zombies instead of COVID.
Yeah.
So there's things to relate to, and just things about the human condition, what we need, and what happens after so long without hope and isolation and all that.
Right. So there you go. You got 2 movies this time, and hopefully this will be a weekly thing here. We'll try doing this regular. There's been a lot going on, and I've been trying to get. We want to do this live at night, like me and Ted do. So it may be a different space. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. But we should do something next week, I'm sure. We'll fit something in. Yeah. So either way, you'll get another one next week. But leave comments down below. Check out all the links below. Kelsey, I guess you don't got nothing to plug. She's always doing shoots and stuff like that. But you got that big new movie you're doing. Or not.
Big new movie. Whoa. Oh, wow. I don't even know about this. Sounds great.
We'll talk.
But yeah, definitely you can follow my social media if you're interested in other things that I do. But yeah, I'm just happy to talk horror. So thanks for tuning in and keep it creepy, guys.
Yeah, keep it creepy. Oh, check out the website because if you go underneath all of that information, you'll find all her links to everything too. So check that out. And like she said, stay creepy.